Welcome to Coffee with the Cats, presented by Mission House Coffee. I'm Maura Sheridan, the broadcaster for the Lynchburg Hillcats, and today I'm joined by Lynchburg's first baseman, Will Bartlett. Thanks so much for coming on, Will.
Thank you for having me. Good to be here.
All right, so I like to ask everyone about their Little League experience because I feel like it's one of the cooler experiences you have as a kid. What's your favorite memory playing Little League?
Probably. So the team that I played with my last year, Little League, my 11-year-old year, we won the city championship, and a couple of my buddies that I ended up playing with later on in my career were on the opposing team. So beating them and having bragging rights that carry into my 20s, definitely fun. We do not treat it like we were 11 and 12 at the time. It's fun stuff.
Was this in California?
Yeah, so Northern California is where I grew up until I was about 15 years old. So shout out Alpine Little League in Portola Valley.
It must have been extremely competitive. I can only imagine, just like California baseball growing up.
Yeah, I think California as a state has probably more amateur talent than a lot of places baseball-wise, which was a huge blessing for me. It kind of made sure that there was always good players to play against and all that good stuff.
Who were your idols growing up? Who did you look up to the most?
Yeah, so I was a diehard Giants fan growing up. And so, the 2010, 12, and 14 World Series teams were like, those guys are kind of untouchables on my all-time baseball list. So Buster Posey, Madison Bumgarner, guys like that, Brandon Crawford. I go on all day, down to guys like Eugenio Velez, who, most won't remember. But yeah, I idolize those teams.
So you end up going to high school at IMG Academy, which, anytime I watch, college football, college baseball, it's like has the top prospects are always from that high school. So what was it like competitively to go to that high school, and what did you get out of it?
IMG was awesome. It's definitely different than I think anywhere else in the country. I'd say the biggest positive was just, kind of like we touched on with California. I was playing against a bunch of really good talent, which always makes you better. And I think it's just more of a college experience than it is a high school experience. You go to class in the morning, and then your sport dominates the day after from 1 o'clock on. So it's pretty cool. I liked it.
What was that moment like in 2019 when you get drafted by Cleveland? I mean, how did your family react? How did you react?
Yeah, so draft day was probably one of the worst days of my life until I got picked. I thought I was going to go a little earlier than I did, was kind of riding that out with my family and my agent. Thought I was going to go to school. And then, thankfully the Indians gave me a call and I decided to do it. And it was a huge blessing, great organization, great people. They've welcomed me with open arms and really always prioritize what's best for the player and the individual. So it was great. But the day leading up to when it happened was not.
Mentally, like, how do you get over a hurdle like that, and how do you use it to your advantage moving forward? Maybe like I'm a bit of an underdog.
Yeah, 100%. It's this weird kind of yin and yang with it, balance that you have to find. On one hand, super, super blessed and thankful that the Indians picked me. And I don't take that lightly. I lucked out organization wise and all that good stuff. I'm happy with where I'm at. On the other hand, definitely a huge chip on my shoulder. I was the high school team that I was on had 6 kids get drafted, 5 kids sign. I saw 3 of my teammates go on day 1, and I was hoping that I was going to be, right behind them on day 2. And that's not how it worked out. So it's a huge ship. I still carry it with me, but, definitely a blessing as well.
How do you know Tristan McKenzie? Because he always tags you and stuff on our Instagram.
Yeah, so it's like, first of all, Tristan, awesome dude, kind of like a big brother type when we're around each other. He was rehabbing out at our AZL facility in Arizona during rookie ball. And he is not the big league type personality in the sense that he won't talk to younger guys. He's, everybody's the same. And I think that's kind of true across the board with our org is, when you're in spring training and situations where there's, everybody from DSL and AZL guys all the way up to the big leaguers and everything in between. It's nice to get to know older guys, pick their brains, and Tristan was one of those guys for me. And, we keep in a little bit of touch. It's always fun watching him do his thing, during the season. He had an unbelievable start last night. But yeah, we know each other through spring training and keeping in touch from there. Great dude. Awesome guy.
You mentioned AZL. What did you learn about yourself in that first year of professional baseball?
I learned a lot. I think the first month that I had out there was probably the most valuable month of my career. I struggled more than I can describe. I didn't know what was going on. It was just a big jump from high school to pro ball. And then, figuring things out was empowering. It was the worst I'd struggled. And so getting out of that and doing things day by day to kind of, get better and figure things out was just something that, I had to prove to myself that I could, and I did. And, it won't be the last time I struggled. I had a bad week last week, but, it's one of those things where, I now know that I have it in my tool bag to get out of a funk or to, figure different things out when I need to. So I think the AZL was awesome. A lot of guys don't love it. And that's true across the board, not necessarily our organization. It's just rookie ball is kind of a grind, but I thought that it was super fun, first time playing every day, all that stuff. So it was great.
So, I mean, you've gone deep a couple of times, you have a lot of RBIs and stats like that. But one stat that really stands out to me is that you are top 5 in the Indian system in terms of walks on the year. So what's the art to drawing a walk?
Well, there's a lot to it. On one hand, you can't be scared to punch out. In a game where analytics are dominant, people have started to realize that the strikeout might be, no worse than a soft ground ball to third base or shortstop or something like that. So I'm not afraid to get deep into counts 2-2, 3-2, because I think that walking is not a product of trying to do so. It's just kind of this chess game between, I don't want to swing at his pitch, the pitcher's pitch that is, on the corner or something that I'm not looking for, and get myself out early. I'm really hunting what I'm looking for and what I can do damage with. And if I don't get that, I'm perfectly happy going deep into the count. So, you're never looking to walk. I don't ever go into an at bat saying, hey, I'm trying to draw a walk right here. But, I'm always trying to do damage. And sometimes a byproduct of that is really being patient and hunting a small zone.
There's a lot of, young players on this team, but talent as well. So, I mean, have you looked at your teammates and maybe started to learn from them and pull parts of their game that you can use yourself?
Oh, heck yeah. So I was a catcher naturally in high school. So the infield is still kind of new to me. At least having it be my primary certainly is. And so, our infielders are all way better than I am on defensively on the infield. So I love learning from them. Every single guy on our team, especially infield wise, kind of does it a tiny bit different way. But they're all really solid. I love learning from Yordi, Christian. All those guys are great in terms of articulating little intricacies about the infield that I didn't previously understand. So they're super helpful.
What's the hardest part about playing first?
Probably with the new shifting that goes on in baseball a lot more. Right-handed hitters, they've got us playing off the line a ton. So it's probably getting to the bag on anything, hit to the left side, turn around, and usually finding the ball that's probably already in the air. It's just a lot of footwork, a lot of moving pieces, and you got to make sure to stay low and athletic in your feet. So that's probably the toughest part right now.
What are your goals for this year, and then how do you accomplish those goals?
I think most of my goals are more mental than they are numbers or anything like that, because I know that in order to get the numbers, I've got to take care of the mental side. So, making sure that I can stay level is definitely a big one. Baseball is a game of ups and downs. Being able to, whether it's a good game or a bad game, once I go to sleep, take a positive from it, move on. That's something that I hear Christian talking about a lot, and it's true. You gotta find a little highlight from the day, whether you went 4 for 4, 0 for 4, go to sleep. Next day's your next day. And so, yeah, making sure that I'm not getting too high, too low, and everything will take care of itself outside of that.
Do you have a favorite game so far from your time in Lynchburg?
Yeah, 100%. The 13 or 14 inning, whatever it was, I think is everybody's favorite game. That was probably the most wild stat line of my career. I was 2 for 6, homered and struck out 4 times. And 3 of my strikeouts were in really big spots. So I had all the emotions, all the frustrations in one game. My mom was in the stands. That was great. So that was just a loaded game personally and for the team. And then Diaz walking it off on a broken bat single. I mean, that's like as fitting of a way for that game to end as there was. So it was great. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, after a 9-run comeback too. That was 5 hours, 12 minutes. I was by myself on air. It's like a whole journey.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't lose your voice.
I didn't. I think, not to brag, I think I actually have some kind of strong vocal cords, but
Impressive.
I say that now, but I'm going to lose my voice this week.
Long season. Yeah.
All right. So I want to end with some kind of fun questions. First, I want to ask, do you have an athlete that you really like that is not a baseball athlete?
I'm a huge sports fan, so that list could probably go on forever. A few off the top, Colin Kaepernick. I grew up a huge 49ers fan, and then kind of socially what he's done as well. I'm a huge Colin Kaepernick fan, the person and the player. Steph Curry, again, Bay Area sports fan. He's unbelievable, best point guard in the league, best shooter of all time. I'll hear nothing else. And then growing up, actually, when I was young, my dad and I were really into the Sharks and hockey. So Patrick Marleau, another one, a hockey player, his career's coming to an end, Hall of Fame career. But yeah, I could talk about my favorite athletes for hours.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, I'm a Boston sports fan. That's like what I live and breathe. But I will say my favorite non-Boston sports athlete is probably Klay Thompson. I just love him.
Clay's the man. He's the man.
Everything about him.
Yep, the aura, the personality, everything.
And I mean, I think is probably like the best number 2. I mean, one of the best number 2s of all time. If you think about it, it's like him and Scottie Pippen, but like he could lead his own team.
Completely agree. Agree.
So, okay, let's take baseball off the table and let's say that doesn't exist. What would you do with what would your career path be? Baseball doesn't exist.
Oh, goodness. I have no idea, because the answer, if I wasn't playing, would definitely be coaching. I love the game as much as anything. If baseball didn't exist and other sports existed, I probably would have played football in high school, and then done something in sports, probably in the football side. But I definitely would have done something athletic. I hated the classroom. There were a couple things that I had pretty key interests on, but nothing that I could see myself pursuing for 70 years, which, I hope to in some variety in baseball, whether I'm playing, coaching, or whatever.
Right. I mean, that's what I've done with my life, so no judgments there.
Yeah.
Who has the nastiest pitch, like that you're so thankful you don't have to go up against on this team?
Oh, Jerson Ramirez's slider is filthy. He spins it at like 3,200. His fastball is like 94, 95, and his slider's 90 somehow. I mean, it's filthy. I want no part of his slider. It's a really good pitch.
All right, final question. So if you're stuck on a desert island, what teammate do you think could actually help you get off that island?
Oh, I don't know. Who's resourceful? You know what? I'd probably say Trey Benton, and here's why. First of all, the little Southern twine and the whole like backwoods vibe. He's a handyman, all that kind of stuff. But secondly, Trey, no matter how negative the situation is, Trey will make you laugh somehow, some way. So if I was out there on a desert island, I feel like more so than help getting off, I'd need help staying kind of upbeat until we did. So I'd take Trey. I'd hope that Trey was with me for sure. Or my second answer would be Espino, because like that's the closest thing to like a mule or an ox that you can bring. He's so darn strong. So I'd be Danny or Trey, one of the two.
Hopefully this never comes up in real life.
Yes. Yeah, with you.
All right, thank you so much, Will. I appreciate this. And this has been Coffee with the Cats presented by Mission House Coffee.